Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another week of fantastic questions. We've got quite a lot to get at today. I didn't have a show last week, all right, so apologies for the slight absence. The last show that I did was a couple of weeks ago, so whilst I was still over in Japan. It was a bit of an informal episode. I recorded it on my iPhone with my AirPods and stuff, but it still seemed to go okay. So thank you everyone for joining me for that. But we're back, and we've got some great questions. We're going to get to them in just a moment. Before we do, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube magic. It's super important that you do that because it helps us grow the Kendo population. Basically what happens is when you like, share, subscribe, you enable notifications. It activates the YouTube ninja robots that goes out and gets people to start Kendo. All right, we've already had 148.6 billion people start Kendo since yesterday because of this method. All right, I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. As I said before, we've reached out to Google and YouTube, asked them, is this how it works? And they didn't answer, so I'm taking that as a yes. So that's how we grow the Kendo population. It's really important as well. You have to leave a comment down below using the word Kendo. Maybe what a fantastic Kendo video. This is the best Kendo video, best Kendo channel ever. Something like that, so that the robots know that it's Kendo that the people are going to start. All right, so that we don't like just get a billion people suddenly start, you know, I don't know, yoga or something like that. All right, nothing wrong with that, but we're here to get people starting Kendo. Okay, more importantly with that, if you like this video, if you like the videos that I put out, we've got these videos. Yesterday, I did a feedback video where people send in the videos, I give them feedback. I've got instructional stuff. I've got new stuff coming very soon in regards to that. We have analysis videos, massive, a variety of videos, all coming to you free of charge. There's no monthly memberships, nothing like that. There's no payment for subtitles or anything. All you have to do to support the channel, and this is the best bit because it's total win-win, is shop at KendoStar.com, because KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the history of the human race, the future of it as well, probably before that as well, to be honest. And long after we're gone, I think KendoStar is still going to be the best. Now, of course, I would say that because I own the place, all right? But everyone agrees with me. You're going to shop with us in the end, all right? So don't buy twice. Don't go and waste your money somewhere else and then come and buy with us in the end. Just buy with us in the first place and you'll be happy first time round. We're one of the highest rated e-commerce websites on the internet with Trustpilot, which is an independent reviews aggregate. You're going to get the best equipment, best service, established brand with full team of staff ready to serve you. Okay, we're not operating out of our bedrooms or our basements or anything like that. We're not middlemen. We're not drop shipping. It's all proper established stuff for you. Okay, so you're getting the best kit, you're getting the best service. All right, that's KendoStar.com. Right, we're going to jump to these questions, but before we do, I'm going to show you this great t-shirt that I picked up while I was in Japan. How cool is this? How cool is this? Do or do not, there is no try, and there's a little Yoda on the back of Luke Skywalker. How awesome is that? I thought it was well good. I wore it today, especially for the channel, and then realised that it like gets cut off. It says on the back as well, it says Star Trek on the back. I'm joking, mate. It says Star Wars on the back. It's cool, isn't it? It's cool. Japan exclusive. Okay, right. Flexing my t-shirt. Right. Okay, let's get to these questions. Okay. Hi, Fish Sensei. I hope you're doing well. I have a question for the next Kendo rant. Okay, well, here we are. Recently, I started a new step on my Kendo journey. About a month ago, I started studying Jordan. Okay. The hardest part was not the Kamae or learning a new way to move, but dealing with feedback, of course. In my dojo, there's no one who does Jordan, so I'm all alone discovering the nuances of Keiko. The problem is that I receive lots and lots of feedback from people who've never ever done Jordan. Not talking about sensei, but even kohai who wants to give their 2 cents about how to improve. Do you have any tips on how to filter what's good and bad feedback? Any tips on how to deal with this new undiscovered area for me and Kendo? Any tips on how to improve, Jordan? Thanks for the comments and awesome products on KendoStar. Okay, fantastic. No problem. Look, it's always going to be a hard road doing Jordan, especially sort of overseas where you might not have a sort of sensei that's experienced in that. But you know, you are going to find yourself in this situation where lots of people want to sort of chip in and let you know how they can help you get better, whether they actually know what they're talking about or not. And that's not necessarily exclusive to Jordan, you know, funnily enough, not in my experience anyway. I am going to try and set another light up here. Does this make it better? Oh, a tiny bit. Let's leave that on. And basically, it is a hard job filtering out what's kind of worth keeping and what's worth chucking away, but you have to figure that out yourself as you go along. So, you know, just because someone's your kohai doesn't mean that what they're saying is wrong. Yeah, just bear that in mind first of all. Have a think on it. If it doesn't seem to fit with your current sort of point, then maybe just put it to one side, come back to it later, or just leave it alone. If it's coming from like a sensei or something like that, then it's definitely worth, I think, giving it consideration and giving it a try. But again, it might not always be the right thing for you. You have to, at the end of the day, it's you that's in charge of your own Kendo direction, right? So if you have to navigate this, and it's not unique to Jordan, to be honest. I think there's an over reliance on like advice from teachers in general in Kendo, in my experience of doing Kendo outside of Japan. In Japan, it's not so much like that. I think for kids a little bit more, but for sort of you know, once you get sort of into sort of mid-teens and upwards, you sort of, it's up to you to figure it out, and senseis just give you the odd hint or tip along the way. So you know, I think you're just going to have to use your judgment, give things a try, experiment, try this out, try that out. Okay, someone said this, okay, I'll give it a try. Someone said that, I'm not so sure, I'll try it. Yeah, as I expected, it doesn't work. Someone said this, I'm not sure, give it a try. Oh, actually, it works better than I thought. You know, all these sort of things. That's the point of Keiko, right? So that you can find this stuff out. And in terms of my tips on how to improve Jordan, do lots of suburi. That's the main thing I would say, and especially the katate suburi, but not just the katate suburi. Okay, but yeah, it's about being able to use your I mean, you need to use your legs as well as your arms, but your whole body, which can be improved with suburi. Your footwork's improved in suburi. Your shinai sabaki is improved in suburi as well. So my advice is indeed do lots of suburi. Okay, next one. Sorry if I'm coughing a little bit. It's stupid bad hay fever season for me. I've taken my pills and stuff, but still it gets me in the throat, you know. Anyway, hi Fish Sensei, thank you for the wonderful videos. Question: I've been thinking recently of flying with Borga, and was wondering what your experience with flying with Borga have been like. Oh, I'm not going to make some sort of dad joke about like the Borga not having wings or something like that. Anyway, is there anything to look out for with respect to packing the Borga? Can I just check my Borga bag without worrying about damage to the Borga? And any issues with weight limits or any trouble for airlines allowing or not allowing Borga on flights? Thanks. So I've seen people just use a Borga bag and check that, but I don't personally like to do that. I have a suitcase, like a, you know, like a shell type suitcase, and like a big one. I think they're measured in like liter sizes or something like that. So I think the one is like 90 liters or something. And it fits my Borga inside. I've always done that. I've always traveled that way for like 20 years now doing that. And I've never had an issue with it. If I usually pack it in at the bottom of the suitcase near the wheels. I don't particularly know if that's important, but I do. I put it in and pack my other stuff in the rest of the space in the suitcase, my doggy hakama, and the clothes I'm going to need while I'm away. And it's generally fine. I don't even tell the airline that there's a Borga in there. They don't care. There's nothing dangerous about it or particularly delicate, right? So I don't, it's always fine. It just goes through, no problem. Shinai is obviously more of an issue because some airlines want to charge extra for it, and then they ask you what it is and stuff. So sometimes that can be I've never had a problem with it though. I've never had a problem with Shinai either. I just tell them it's a stick for sports, and if they ask more, I say it's a bamboo stick for Kendo. It's not particularly delicate, but it's and it's always been fine. So yeah, it's not too hard. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Okay, next one. Next one. Hello, Sensei. Thank you for everything you do for the Kendo community. No, thank you very much for participating. I was curious about what one should do with their body between their abs and their knees in Kamae. Abs between the abs and knees. You mean like your thighs? On the one hand, rotating your hips so that your butt sticks out feels like it better aligns with the muscles in my left leg for going forward. However, I've also heard your sphincter, butthole, should be tight, which I think implies natural hip rotation with butt cheeks clamped. What is this, man? This is sort of the opposite of sticking your butt out. What say you? Arigato. Okay, so you're asking me what you do with your butt whilst we're in Kendo, doing Kendo. I don't think about it all that much, to be honest. I have heard all this stuff before. It's not something I particularly focus on. I focus on the lower body more, like below. Like I think below the knees is more important, like the calves, especially on the left side. So I don't think you need to think about it too much. I think you need to find a balance that's comfortable for you, and then you need to use your lower legs, I think, really, to make the good kamae. Hips want to be reasonably straight. I don't think you need to be sticking your butt forward or backwards or tightening anything too much, because you don't want to cause yourself cramps and stuff. So yeah, I just wouldn't, give it too much thought. I just stand in a position that's straight on and reasonably comfortable. Yeah, and go from there. Okay, this left foot is the one that's the real important one, if you ask me. So yeah. Okay, next one. I think we might use this one as something to do with this for the title of for this video. No, we won't. Okay, I've noticed people in my country having a different kamae of late. They steadily shift to their left, threatening kote, holding their shinai a bit out of center to the right. Okay, to the right from your point of view, right? Protecting kote. I see. No, from your point of view, I understand. This is in the run-up to one of the more important competitions. Is this common outside Belgium? Is this good Kendo? I haven't practiced outside my country before, so it's a local thing. I think what you're referring to, right, is when there's a sort of slightly common trend, I think, because it's been highlighted in the recent results of the All Japan Championships, where the current champion, Mr. Natsumeda, has a very extreme sort of offset kamae, and of course it's not wrong to do that, but it is very individual, and in his case that's come from years and years of practice and self-study. There is I mean, it's not wrong or particularly uncommon at the moment, especially, but in the past too, to have, instead of the left, like the traditional teaching is to have the left hand bang in the middle, right? But there's some teaching to say, instead of the shinai with the left hand bang in the middle, so instead of this bang in the middle here, I don't know if I can show this properly, but instead of the shinai bang in the middle, but this knuckle in the middle, so it's slightly to the left this way, and of course, and the kensen still goes on the middle. This kensen still goes on the middle. It's not open. Kensen's still on the middle, but so instead of like this, it's kind of like this, slightly offset, slightly like this. It's not right or wrong. It's just some people find that a little bit more comfortable or more appropriate. And that's fine, but I'd be hesitant to start messing with that too early on in your sort of thing, you know, like in your journey. I probably wouldn't mess with that sort of thing until you're at least sort of 5th dan or up, to be honest. Now, if you are, then fine, give it a try, see how it is. But until then, just stick with how your sensei teaches it, and you won't go far wrong. It ain't a game-changing difference. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, okay, if you do this, you're gonna like be 50% better or 20% better. It doesn't work like that. It's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Next one, bulk question. When looking at door die options, they're frequently described as 50-piece and 60-piece, with 60-piece often being bamboo. Could you describe what this means and what is the difference between them, other than the material they're made from? Yeah. Let me see if I can get a picture for you, and we'll look at that, and you'll be able to see. I tell you what, I'll just grab a door. Oof. Okay, so here we are. So this is a bamboo door that sort of belongs to my wife and daughter. They sort of share it. So as you can see on the inside, all right, it's got this sort of bamboo finish, right? And can you see there's these bamboo slats? It's made of vertical bamboo slats. Okay, so when it's 60-piece, it means there's 60 of these. Okay, 60 of these. Okay, 60. Okay. Generally, bamboo doors, especially the sort of higher quality ones that are like urishi lacquered like this, they're generally 60-piece. Generally 60-piece. You can get cheaper ones that are like 50-piece. Sometimes Kijido are like 50-piece because they're a bit cheaper. And I've even seen like 48-piece. It's not necessarily relevant to the size of the door. You can get the smaller door even as a 60-piece. They just use the thinner slats. Now, when it's talking about the synthetic door, this is my daughter's. It's my daughter's Borga. This one you can see has the same sort of thing, but this is a synthetic door. Okay, the synthetic door. It's a plastic one. It has a leather covering with these embossed flowers on, but this is a bit different. All right, this is what is called a 50-piece synthetic door, and although it's got these slats, there's not actually 50 pieces. It's a 50-piece type or style, and essentially it's molded in a way so it has these ridges on it that look like the bamboo slats. All right, so it's to make it look like a bamboo door. All right, but it's not actually 50 pieces. They're molded on in the plastic. All right, and they're usually 50 pieces, and those are size dependent. So if you have a synthetic door that's 50-piece, that's a standard size. If you have a 60-piece, it's a little bit bigger, and then the biggest one is 64-piece. So that's what that means. What you find as well is that there are like what's called the hiragata. It's just the single piece ones, or single piece type, where it's just flat on the back of the plastic. This is the plastic ones. They're a little bit thinner as well. These ones with the bamboo slat look, the 50-piece type ones, they're a bit thicker, so they're a little bit more protective and a little bit more durable. Okay, so that's what that means. It's not something that makes a huge difference, if I'm honest with you, but it looks kind of nice, you know. Okay, next one. All right, I'm laughing because I saw this one on the group. Right, hello sensei. Where a famous celebrity decides to take up kendo again and shows his journey on YouTube. What could this be in reference to? But B, his reiho, etc. isn't up to scratch. Is it appropriate to criticize this? One school of thought is, A, we have dwindling kendo population and we need kids to be interested in kendo. B, criticizing someone's reiho can come across as nitpicking and may dissuade kids from taking kendo up. C, in any event, he is a returner, so we should cut him some slack. The other argument would be, A, kendo is about development of humanity, so etiquette isn't a minor detail, it's a big deal, so we need to get it right. Kids who get dissuaded with Reiho stuff on YouTube will be dissuaded when they visit the dojo, and the sensei points it out anyway. See, he is an adult and unlikely to be a competitor. Reiho and character development will be even more important than hitting and winning or having fun. I lean towards the latter, given the AJKS concept of Kendo. Your views would be greatly appreciated. So I know exactly what this is referring to, because it's been a little bit of a thing. All right, I think it was it's a bit of Kendo YouTube drama in Japan. It's not a big one, but the famous celebrity, famous singer. I think he qualifies as singer / actor / he's just a celebrity. He's like a generic celebrity, pretty famous guy. And he was a member of a pop group, and he's got some Kendo experience from when he was young, and he's got his own YouTube channel. There's a lot of Japanese celebrities do these days, and he's been doing lots of like Japanese culturally relevant stuff, and he went back to Kendo. Okay, and there has been some comments on the video, I think, about how I think it was like, now we're not talking like he didn't do any day and he was like swearing and he didn't care about anything. Like he put his door on while he was standing up. I think that's what it was, if I remember right. Okay, he put his door on while he was standing up. This is not correct. Okay, you're supposed to sit down when you put on your door and tare. Okay. That is not a massively widely practiced aspect of Reiho in Japan. It's just not. All right, loads of people stand up and put their door on, even when they know they shouldn't. They just do. Okay. Now, is that right or wrong? Doesn't matter. I don't know. Well, it's wrong. It's wrong. We know it's wrong. It's wrong. Okay. You should sit down and do it. You should. All right. But at the same time, what you've got is possibly one of the most, like, he's up there as one of the top famous Japanese celebrities. A very, very famous celebrity. Okay. And he's spotlighting Kendo on YouTube. All right. And he's not, this is my opinion, all right? He's not doing anything that's particularly super egregious in terms of the Reiho stuff. Yeah, he should have sat down when he put his door on. And now I'll be honest, I'm not sat and analyze these videos that he's put out. I watched like one of them whilst sort of skipping through it. And I heard the comments about the door whilst he was stood up. I think it's just a little bit blown out of proportion, if I'm honest with you. I don't think it's a case of like, I don't think it's like, oh, it's gonna, if we criticize him, it's gonna dissuade people, like kids doing Kendo. Like most kids are already dissuaded from doing Kendo. Like Kendo is like on the decline, unfortunately, in Japan. So I think it's a really great thing that a celebrity like that has picked it up and put it on YouTube, actually. And I support it, him doing that. Now, yeah, is Reiho's not perfect, but I'll be honest with you, anyone who says their own Reiho is perfect, probably has a little bit of a question around it as well. I make mistakes in Reiho all the time. Okay, I make mistakes all the time. Does that mean I don't care about Reiho? I don't think it's important, or don't think it's an extremely important aspect of Kendo? Of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah. Do I sometimes make mistakes or forget myself? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. All right. And we're talking about, like I say, something that the Kendo community is so big in Japan, right? Like the Zen Kennen, frankly, they're like, their teachings it's not like really brilliantly disseminated amongst every dojo in Japan. So there's plenty of people that just don't know that standing up and putting your door on is not the correct etiquette. Yeah. Now, again, I'm speculating that this is the thing we're talking about. But I think if we're going to start like going on there, oh, you should sit down if you're going to do, like, it's like, come on. Like the guy's sort of highlighting Kendo. You know, maybe some people are going to see that and go, oh, actually, yeah, Kendo does look kind of cool. I'll go and have a go. And then when they get there, the sensei is going to say, oh, by the way, when you put the door on, you should sit down. You think they're going to, oh, well, that's not what I saw in the video. As if, no, they're not going to do that, right? No, they're not going to do that, all right? So I think it's nitpicking, actually. I don't know if it's enough to dissuade people from kids taking up Kendo, but I do think it's nitpicking. If it was super bad, like he was refusing to do Sonkyo or didn't do the Taito or something like that, and was like going, yeah, like this after he hit people. But there's nothing like that. It's not like that. That's different, yeah? So yeah, it's extremely important that we retain the value of Reihoi in Kendo. Don't misinterpret this, right? But to get not a random celebrity, but to get a celebrity like that, that's like overlooked one tiny aspect and then kind of highlight that is like kind of, it's nitpicking, and it detracts from the overall value that video brings to the wider Kendo or potential Kendo population. So that's my sort of take on it, I think. Of course, Kendo is about the development of that, and etiquette is not a minor detail. It's a major aspect of Kendo. It's extremely important. It frustrates me massively when teachers don't teach Deiho properly, or they don't teach Kendo as Budo. They teach it as the hitting game, and unfortunately, it's very common. And I've seen it a lot. I find that extremely frustrating. Of course, I do. But you know, somebody, it's one YouTube video, do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not saying this is how you should, it's not presenting it as this is the correct way to do it either. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, I'm Sandan and I'm struggling a bit with Hikitate Geiko with Kohai who are Shodan and under. I'm trying to find the sweet spot between just letting them hit me and dominating them, neither of which is helpful for either of us. Any advice or strategies in this area will be appreciated. It's a little bit difficult, I understand that. I don't think you have to worry about it a massive amount at Sandan level, to be honest. And obviously you don't need to beat them up, but what I would do if I was you is I think you want to, when you get to this kind of crossing of the shinai, see if you can get them to hit you. All right, see if you can get them to hit you when they want to hit you. And then when you're able to do that, then start using that to practice your debana and your ojiwaza. But don't do that on every single one, otherwise they'll stop hitting you. Yeah, so let them hit you sometimes. You don't have to be like this, but like try to make a thing so that they might try to hit. And try to get them to understand when to hit, and then use that. Then you can use that as a chance to see if you can spot where you can hit. But my advice to you is I'd focus largely on doing debana against them as well. I think that's a good way to practice with them. All right, because it's hard to do debana and you might not be successful. So sometimes they'll hit you and you know that will be beneficial too. Okay. Hello, I would appreciate any insights, feedback or thoughts on how to eliminate the pesky bad habit of the cheating left foot. Moving the left foot in just before striking. Unfortunately, I didn't correct this many years ago when I first started Kendo, and now it's really become a problem for two reasons. One, because it's simply incorrect and not proper Kihon. Two, I'm Yondan and I serve an instructor role in my dojo, and I feel that I shouldn't be transmitting any knowledge to lower grade students until I'm able to correct my own basics. Much appreciated. Thanks again for continuing these Kendo RANT videos. They're always helpful. Great, no problem at all. So, yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. I think that there's a couple of reasons people do the cheating left foot, and that is that when you're in your Kamae, you're going to hit men, you step forward with your left before you hit. One is that you're trying to hit from a distance you're not comfortable in reaching in a single step, all right? So, and I think that's because we have this sort of stigma of not hitting from too close, which is correct, right? But it's more important that you hit correctly than you hit from miles away, right? So one thing I'd do, especially if you're Yondan, you sort of start off here, yeah, like this, and then get to your cutting distance. And this is when you're doing your Kihon, right? You're doing your Kihon Meuchi or your Kirikaishi, get to your cutting distance, and then maybe even take half a step further in, all right? And then focus all your thoughts on not moving your left foot. Get your weight on your left foot as you swing up and strike for your kirikaishi, or if it's a small strike, that way. Second thing you can do, and I find this really useful, is there's two exercises you can do for this. One is you can stand in your kamae at cutting distance, raise your right foot off the floor, so you just stood on your left leg. Don't let your heel touch the floor though on your left leg. All right, so you stood, just all your weight's on your left leg, and your right foot is off the ground, like just this much, and then launch forward and do humikomi and men. Okay, because then you can't draw it up because all your weight is supporting your entire body weight. All right, that's one way. It's pretty useful. Second way is if you're doing the small men strikes, get to your cutting distance, and then as you move forward to hit, move your right foot first. Before you move your shinai, move your right foot first. Right foot first, and then at the last minute, then that's when you launch from the left and do the fumikomi, all right? But again, it's similar to the first thing because you've got your whole weight on your left leg. So the first thing to move is your right foot moves forward as if to do semi with your right foot. Okay, so you start to move your hips forward with your right foot, bam, this way, and then when you're ready to hit, bam, this way, yeah, bam, that way. Okay, it's not so easy, all right, but I think it can be really useful for you. All right. When we talk about kote as part of the bogu, not the waza, what is the correct way to distinguish between singular and plural? Example, one glove or two gloves. I think I've only heard one kote, two kote. That is correct. How is it used in Japanese language? Okay, so in Japanese, Japanese doesn't use plurals in quite the same way we do in English, where we just like add an S. You know, like you could say like, I don't know, like a pen and pens, right? You got in Japanese, it's just pen, right? pen, right? And you know, they don't change the word itself based on the quantity or the pluralism of it. All right. Now, in the case of kote, if we're talking about how to say this in Japanese, in the terms of kote are almost always a pair or a set of two. Okay, it's almost always thought of as that. So in general everyday life, if you talk about like in the dojo or something, you talk about, if you say the word kote, then for the most part, unless you modify what you're saying in some way, it's going to be assumed you mean the pair, both of them, all right, because they come as a set. All right, it's a bit like shoes. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing, right? Shoes in Japanese is kutsu, and you would only like whether it's one shoe or both shoes, you would say kutsu. But if you would generally, I think because they're generally considered as a pair, you wouldn't add to it to make it plural. I think instead you would specify if you're only talking about one. All right. So you might say hidari kote, left kote, or you know, kote kataho or kutsu kataho. You could say if you're talking about your shoes. Yeah, kataho is one side. Yeah. You would probably say something like that. You'd modify it so it's clear that you're just talking about one. But if you didn't do that, I think unless it was super obvious in what you were saying, like if you, for example, if you were talking about your shoes and you were saying your shoes are untied, you would refer to them as the kutsuhimo. And most people's shoelaces don't, like if you said, oh, my shoelace became untied, you wouldn't say, you know, most people wouldn't assume that both of them came untied at the same time. So then it's by assumption, you just mean one side. Japanese has a lot of assumption, right? You have to kind of assume a lot of stuff with Japanese too. It's a bit like that. But for in the terms of kote, yeah, you would specify you were just talking about one. Otherwise, if you said kote, for the most part, in general terms, unless it was super obvious based on the context, you would the term kote would refer to the pair. Okay. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, I am a few months into Kendo now. By the way, all my Shinai Kendogi and my bogu is from KendoStar, and I couldn't be more happy. See, I told you. So I watched some high rank Shiai and noticed how fast their okuriashi is when they walk slide by their opponent after a strike. Actually, it doesn't look like okuriashi anymore. It's more like hopping by. Does it? just look like that to me. Also, how do they get that fast? During my own practice, when I do humikomi and men, for example, I try to get past my opponent, and sensei sometimes pushes me gently in my back to be faster, I assume. Is it just time and practice thing, or how can I get better to learn the technique to be faster? Okay, so yeah, you're right. I understand what you're saying, but their okuriashi is super fast. Yeah, absolutely, especially at high level, you know. And as they move faster, there's a bit of a spring to it. So that's why it looks a little bit like a hop. I see what you're saying. In terms of how to get faster, it is practice, but you have to be super focused on it. You have to really think about hitting and then speeding up. And it's super hard. It's very difficult. And I think one of the problems is the standard teaching of okuriashi is like this, right? And we say you don't let the feet cross each other like that, which in general terms is true, but it's also kind of guidelines. It's like the image you should have, rather than like it's the firm, hard and fast. You mustn't cross the left in front of the right, otherwise you're excommunicated from Kendo. It's not like that, right? It's not a commandment, right? So that's why if you watch like the really fast players, they'll do their fumikomi and then they'll go bam like that, and it'll be like bam like that. And yeah, there's moments where their feet are kind of crossing even, but it's like super momentary and super duper fast. But they have the image of this, all right, just doing it super fast, okay. But it's going to be practice. You just need to practice more, all right, and focus on that, all right. Focus on moving those feet faster. Okay, next one. It's a long one, I think. Okay, yeah, it's a long one. Right, okay, let's get to it. Okay. Hi, Fish Sensei. I have a couple of things for this week. First, I began studying Kendo before I discovered KendoStar. Please don't tell the YouTube robot ninjas. As such, I have several sets of Kendogi, some of which are from my mum's basement. However, of the Kendogi sets I have from KendoStar are the best looking and feeling. Keep saying this. I recently ordered the Kiyoi set, and it's by far my favorite. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's also my wife's favorite. She loves to laugh when I come home from training tinted blue. Yeah, well, it's real eyes on me. It will calm down that. Over the last 6 months, my youngest son has been studying Kendo with me. He's an autistic 18-year-old young man, and it's been difficult for us to find something to bond over. Oh, fantastic. He's been picking it up very quickly, good, and in some cases, he's developed faster than I have. It makes me proud as a father and grateful that I found Kendo in your videos. Good. My son will be ready for Borg soon, and I'm planning to surprise him with a Vanguard Borg set for his first set. Great. I'm sure he'll love it. Now for my question. I'm a Taekwondo second dan, and I've begun studying Kendo at the same time, at the same Korean martial arts school. Okay, training is, shall we say, not traditional Japanese Kendo training. Okay, our class is very small, fewer than 10 students, so traditional Japanese practice sessions can be difficult to run. I'm 48 years old, and my first pet was a Triceratops. Anyway, based on my reading and research, I feel I'm ready to sit the Shodan grading. My instructor is aware of this, and we've had a number of discussions about it. I know I need to join my regional Kendo federation to sit for the grading. My question is, I want to honor my current instructor who's not concerned with rank, because Kendo, like any other martial art, is a journey. I wholeheartedly agree. However, while I'm on this journey, I like to have some waypoints to gauge my progress by. Is it disrespectful to want to continue training at my current school while sitting for gradings with my regional federation? I'm sure I didn't articulate my question clearly, and I appreciate your insights. Thank you. Okay, listen, it's fantastic news about you and your son. I'm really happy about that. That's fantastic stuff. I understand the situation, and you articulated your question very well. Your current teacher is sort of saying that rank isn't important or whatever, not concerned with rank because it's a journey. It is a journey. It's correct in that regard. But in the case of Kendo, Shodan Shinsa, the grading exams, are an integral part of that journey. They're important. It's important to make so do those during the journey. They are important, as you say, waypoints, and they're not just waypoints. They're important feedback points. Okay, extremely important feedback points, and that's the part that I think people miss the most. And it's easy to sort of say, oh, well, grade doesn't matter, because Kendo, in Kendo, the downgrade is not a status achievement. All right, it's not a status achievement. It's become that very much in the West, and I find it really frustrating. And you know, like I currently have the 6th Dan, and then people use that rank as a way to sort of attribute status to me or some sort of authority to what I'm saying. And what I'm saying, right, if somebody finds value in what I'm saying, I don't want it to be because I'm 6th Dan. I want it to be because what I'm saying is correct and has value on its own merit, not because it comes from someone who happens to have a certificate, right? The grading exam, the grading challenge is extremely important in that regard on a personal basis for my own Kendo progression. But it's not so that I can say, well, I'm 6th Dan, you're 5th Dan, so you do what I say. I'm right and you're wrong. That is not how it works at all. Like, I don't even, you know, so it is a journey, but that, you know, without those, like if I'd never taken anything above Shodan for the last 20 years, I'd still be at the same level I was at 20 years ago. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. Maybe I'd have got to something that was comparable to like 3rd Dan. Or I'd be surprised if I could, you know, get further than that without the kind of guidance that the grading exam gives me on the journey. All right, because Kendo is a journey of self-study. It's not what the sensei says. Sensei says this, so I do that, and then therefore I get better. It's not how it works. It's a journey of the self, and the shinsa, the grading, as well as the shiai, are important elements of that journey. All right, they're very, very important because they're the key feedback points. All right, the shinsa, am I on the right track, or do I need to do something different? Or it's not just that. Maybe I'm on the right track, but I wasn't able to, you know, I wasn't able to manifest Kendo I needed to do on that day. Well, yeah, I should be aware of that. I should be aware of that. Like, I think once you get to a certain point, for example, when you're like up to Sandan, I think it's fair enough. But I think when you're like getting higher than that, like 4th Dan, definitely 5th Dan, 6th Dan, sort of thing. I don't think if you fail the grading, you should know why. You shouldn't need a sensei to tell you why. You shouldn't need somebody to tell you why you failed. You should kind of know. You should have that feeling yourself. Now you still, you know, getting direct feedback is super important. Maybe sensei is going to say, look, yeah, you know, you didn't manage to demonstrate this because this is what happened, whatever. That's one thing. But in your own sort of mind, you should know. And if you come off and you're like, yeah, I nailed that, and then you didn't and you failed it, then that should be a sort of wake-up call to like, okay, right, well, I don't quite understand what I'm supposed to do. I need to reevaluate, right? I need to reevaluate the journey I'm on. And that's an important step too, right? So I think it's really important, and I think it's good that you want to do it. Obviously, it's difficult. I don't think it's disrespectful, but I think you need to just talk to your teacher before you do it and say, look, I understand what you're saying about that you're not concerned about the rank, and it's something that you think is part of the journey, whatever. But I've decided it's something that I'd really like to do. So I'd like to join the federation so that I can take the Shodan exam. I'd really appreciate it, your support in it. And I don't see any reason for not to support you doing that. There's no like negative to doing it. There's no negative to doing the grading exam. So yeah. That's my sort of thought on that. I think it's a good idea for you to do it, and I hope you manage to. Okay. Next one, and last one. We're here at the end. Okay, hi Fish Sensei, I hope you're doing well. Yes, I am. I'm 2 months into Kendo and I'm really struggling with Okuriashi and Suriashi. I feel like my feet are too sweaty and have a lot of friction. Yeah, lots of people say this. Even if I'm putting 1% of my weight on my right foot, I really struggle to slide it forward without lifting my toes or entire foot. Does the sweat subside eventually? Is there anything I can do to get better looking as Sabaki? Thank you for all your videos. I'm really excited to get my Hakuman Kendogi. Okay, I would say 7 out of 10 new people to Kendo experience this. If it's not 10 out of 10. It's difficult. Okuriashi, suriashi is difficult for everybody at the beginning. All right. Everyone's going to find it difficult. All right. It will come with practice. It is about sort of relaxing your feet. I like to try to imagine one thing you can do is get a little piece of like a tissue paper or a piece of paper, put it on the floor, do your kamae and stand on it with your right foot, and then see if you can push the paper around the floor. All right. And that's the sort of feeling that you want for the okuriashi. All right. Or the suriashi. All right. It will come with time. It will come with practice. All right. But it does take time and patience. All right. But do trust me, it will come. All right. Just keep on doing what you're doing. All right. And there we go. We're at the end of the questions. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. I know it was a bit of a long one because we missed a week last week. I'm not sure if I've got a show next week. I've got a seminar abroad next week, so I'm not sure. But I know it's been a bit irregular recently, but I will do my best to get back to a regular schedule of this. But I will keep putting videos up as much and as often as I can. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, start off those YouTube robots on their mission. And most importantly, shop at KendoStar.com. See you next time. Bye-bye.